Hey everyone, this is Life and Anxiety. Welcome back to the channel. If you've been watching videos, I appreciate your time and checking out my journey. Today I wanted to make a quick video about my reflections for today in this past week. So recently my main content, my vlogs or whatever, my most recent situation is that I missed a really good job opportunity because I let my driving anxiety get in the way. Um, I didn't totally give up. I made the attempt. And I drove. I got about a third of the way there, and then the panic set in, and my mind took over, or it succumbed to it. And people who are familiar with anxiety, panic disorder, they know what that feeling like, what it's like. It's adrenaline. It's like impending doom. It feels like anything bad is going to happen, and that's happening while you're trying to drive a car, and it feels so horrible. But the thing is, I was at a crossroads. I could have kept going. Two more thirds of the way, it would have been unfamiliar territory for me. I would have been overstimulated, um, and it would have been extremely uncomfortable. But after pulling over and sitting and thinking about it for a while, having to go through that, and then probably having some anxiety and panic of the same nature while I sat through orientation, white knuckling it, that was also going through my mind. And that's, could be what would have happened. And I'm pretty sure that's what would have happened. Apologize, I'm always stumbling over my words. Like I tell a lot of people, I don't talk to a lot of people. It's mostly by myself. I live by myself. So little bit of agoraphobia there. That'll do that to you. Trip over your words. But what I want to express is that I was at that crossroads, and I was feeling very uncomfortable. And I know mental illness, it's real, and what I experience is real. Some people take it lightly, who don't have it. Some people are just super hard on themselves, and make it through. But I made the conscious decision. I said I can't do this. But when I really could have, it just really would have been a hard time. And when you're driving a car, sometimes panic attack doesn't just come with the car. Sometimes I started off with just having panic attacks in uncomfortable areas and situations. Not 24/7, just, they would build in certain areas uncomfortability. And that's okay. I learned how to deal with that. I could kind of step back and tone it down. But when you add driving to the mix, I have not always had driving anxiety. I had a freak panic attack for really no reason just one day. And it kind of left an imprint on my brain that, hey, what I always thought was safe, even though I had panic disorder outside of the vehicle, no longer feels safe to me. No longer feels like I can control. And that's one of the main things with anxiety is you're worried about the loss of control, maybe the loss of your, bodily control because there's so much going on in your mind. People refer to it as like there's spinning going up in your head. I like to refer to it as like a beehive. And that beehive and that uncomfortable, just crowded feeling makes it so much harder to focus on the task that you're doing at the time. Like driving, if I were to have a regular one outside of the vehicle, I could just sit down. But when you're trying to focus on doing something while going through that panic attack, that is the hardest part. And that's why a lot of people get stuck. And that's why I chose not to go. Looking back and reflecting, I could have gone. I could have done it. I've experienced very, very uncomfortable driving times, and I've always made it out. I'm still here today. I'll give myself an excuse. Okay, I will. But during that moment, it doesn't feel like that. And during that moment, you can't always pull yourself back. So, one of the lessons I need to remember is that I need to pull myself back, that I've survived every single time. I'm still here. And I digress. This is some good information from what I've been reflecting on, because this is a big loss to me, this job. I wanted to make this video about, how I did not give up, which sounds backwards, but I'll explain. So I had this bad bout of anxiety. I had worry and dread for the upcoming 11 hours of orientation. It's a factory job, but it's a good job. It pays well. It's very well known in this area. Excuse me. But I had been spinning, or I had, the bees or the sharks in my head all night. I had not slept. Probably slept 3 hours. Anxiety added onto fatigue as well. And I had all these things going in my mind, and I'm like, I let the anxiety win that day. And, it's easy to be hard on myself. It's easy to be hard on, anyone in a position like that. But I didn't give up, because even though I had stopped and said, hey, I'm going to let the anxiety win that day, I came back home, and, it receded. That's what the amygdala does. It senses danger, and then once you retreat from the danger, the adrenaline wears off. It starts retreating, even though there's no real logical danger. Sorry if this video's back and forth. But I came home, I felt good. I felt good about the decision. I'm like, okay, we can find something. And what I usually do after an attack is I lay down, because I feel drained. I feel mentally drained. You're carrying a lot. You're hyper vigilant at the time, scanning, making sure that you're as safe as possible, though, and you're probably in a safe situation, even in a car while driving. This will sound stupid to people that don't experience this, but I laid down, and I'm like, okay, we'll brainstorm, and we can still find a job. We can still pull ourselves out of this hole, and have a life. You need finances to have a life, and I'm like, maybe this is just not the way. So I laid down, and when I woke up, I had this extreme guilt that, I did not push myself through. The anxiety had retracted because I had time to lay down, and I also was not at an uncomfortable trigger point, and you can think more clear in that moment. And like I said, I wasn't able to pull myself back during the moment of panic, which I need to focus on more. Um, and I recommend maybe you trying that too. Maybe that might help some to push you to where you need to go. But I woke up and I immediately, out of shame, I didn't call. I immediately sent emails out to HR, my recruiters, and hope to hear, you know, if they would respond. And I tried to explain the situation. I had a medical emergency, and most employers are probably going to see that as like just some dumb excuse. You were late or something, or you're lazy. So I had hope that they'd respond. I waited a day, 2 days, 3 days. I sent another one to 3 people, HR. Um, I didn't hear back from them, and it's defeating when you're struggling with one, overcoming obstacles like driving into unfamiliar areas when suffer with panic attacks, even though it's unrealistic fear. Um, but two, um, I did it to myself, but also to just hear nothing. It just makes that wound deeper. Um, but I can say I'm not a quitter because I did everything I could outside of when I stopped and when I decided not to push myself further. I did everything I could. I tried. I called after the fourth day, left messages. And today, I had a dear friend of mine, she offered to come to my town, which is like an hour away, and come sit with me in my passenger side and like practice driving. And I'm so thankful for her and anyone who does that. Um, when I drive with a passenger, I don't have anxiety. Maybe a little bit. It's when I'm alone, but still having someone to ride with me and push my comfort zone, it reinforces the brain that it's okay, but that's only through repetition. So I have to continue, and I may have to continue alone, but that's just something that I need to do, and I need to push myself through. Um, but I didn't give up. I'm like, this is where I want to go. She asked me, this is your hurdle, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to drive back to this factory. And so we drove and we talked and caught up. And when we got there, I'm like, is it okay if I go inside real quick? And, I gave it one last try. Because me, I can't be at peace until I know that I did everything that I could to show that I can do this, I can push past this. So I sat in the lobby and I had I put my work stuff on like I was ready to work. And just to show them, I purchased the stuff and I waited 15 minutes. And lastly, before I gave this up, because I'm not a quitter, and this is why I'm able to drive some, because I haven't quit on it. It's just been so integrated into my soul not to quit. My last resort was a small little letter to the person who had hired me, and it said the hiring manager's name. I'm like, this is Casey. you know, my last name. I won't put it out there. It might be out there in the other videos, but so this is Casey. I'm like, I want to try one final attempt, and try and reconcile and show you that I'm a hard worker and I'm persistent, and I hope you reconsider. And that was my last attempt to try and make things right. So, you know, thinking about it, I'm kind of getting a little down, but it shows me, it brings to light my character. You might beat me today, the anxiety, but you won't beat me tomorrow. You won't beat me forever. I'll keep coming back. And, you know, for employers that, I mean, I understand there's a business, but I took it a little to heart too, but to be completely nothing back, kind of hurt. But I mean, I'm not gonna give up. It's just not my spirit. I'm gonna try whatever I can do to make amends and show you that this is not an excuse and I can push past it. But it's been about a week, and now it's time to put this chapter down and move forward. I think the hardest thing I was having trouble with was that it was right in my hands. It was right there. But as bad as this sucks, this is a learning moment, and maybe this will help me propel forward with pushing through anxiety and just hanging in there longer. So I want to make this video and just share those reflections with you. It's hard to think during the moment of high panic or extreme panic, but if you can pull yourself back, I encourage you to keep going. If you can't, come back, or, you know, come back another day. Just don't quit, because you can make progress. So, alright, this is Life Anxiety. I'm out of here. Have a good night, everyone. Morning, evening, whenever you're watching this. And I don't like to make my videos like super edity. I just like to make them just kind of real and raw, and that's how I like to display myself. So, real and raw, no excuses. Alright. God bless everyone.